That's very true. That's very true. Anyone else? You're unsuspecting? Have to fight you to do background checks.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Unsuspecting, trusting everyone. So remember, church is a neon target for those of you that took my other courses. Neon target for pedophiles. That's the main reason. Because there's no clearance or screening process. And this book talks about the clearance process, the screening process of how you get a volunteer and what you have to do. In your notebooks, we have included a volunteer agreement so that you would have a copy of it. Am I in the right class?
Yeah.
I got two.
Where am I? Who am I?
Exactly. Volunteer sample agreement. How many of your churches use volunteer agreements? Applications, yes, sir. Yeah.
And we also do background checks.
Exactly. All the time, no exceptions. I love that. So what church are you representing?
Actually, I'm from out of state. I just moved here. The church that I worked in the past.
That's wonderful. Well, we're national, so that's why I asked. I've dealt with some great organizations, but yeah. Well, this is why we gave you samples. People need to fill out why they want to volunteer, what they intend to do, give you a little history about themselves, a reference check. Just because a person wasn't that, or what is it called? Snapchat, that's it. Snapchat and all this other stuff, and then his cousin caught him doing it and realized it was probably the girl was too young. I think she was 15. And so his cousin sent it to the school. And that's how he really got caught. It was someone in his family that ratted him out. And so the school then looks at it, they suspend him, and what did they discover in the investigation? That Deontay Carraway had allegations against him in his home church for years, and the church covered it up. Because the two greatest areas that we cover up is sexual sins and money, which is the next class, the 430 class. Two greatest cover-ups in the church, right there. Somebody's stealing from us, we don't want anybody to know. So this is what's important. Volunteer applications and background checks are critical. And that's what puts us at risk. 70%, if you look at the startling facts of the blue page, the first one tells you something very interesting about volunteers. It tells you that 70% of the lawsuits against churches are for your members. That should scare you. Because most people have no clue. Tony is a rare case. She doesn't go to church. She's outside the church. Most of the cases that we review on a daily basis are from a member. There's somebody that's been in your church, been right there up under you. You've undergirded them. They worked right alongside you. Those are the people that's going to file a complaint. And 50% of those complaints are going to be based on the actions of a volunteer. 50%. That's someone you gave authoritative power to. And remember, we started out by saying, what's the definition of a volunteer?
Someone who's not paid.
Someone who's not paid. It's also someone that has clear lines of authority. But we forgot that part. All we think about as a church is they're not being paid, but they have to have clear lines of a delegated authority. What is it you're supposed to be doing at the debate sale outside? Because the reason that we have so many lawsuits is because, volunteers get an ego after a while. Now I'm a chairperson of the Benevolence Committee, and so, I'm going to do all sorts of things outside at the debate sale, including go scream at drivers that are driving up too close. True case. True case. So they exceed their authority because we allow them to. You have to remember that volunteers are not subject matter experts. This is the most dangerous area. Many times when I'm talking about volunteers, the church will tell me, we've got volunteer lawyers. Now, let me start by telling you, I ran a large legal ministry. Shepherds of the Pentateuch, one of the largest in this area. There were 50-something attorneys that volunteered in that organization when I was chair for 10 years. But they were volunteering at the helm of the chief, who was being paid by the church. So there was always oversight at all times. What some churches will do is they will put people, nurses, lawyers, firefighters, police officers for security. They will put people in positions and then say, they're volunteering. The question is, they do this in real life, and whether or not they understood their volunteering, and whether their profession allows them to do volunteer work. That's where security gets sticky when you're talking about some police officers. Because who am I representing? Police officer goes into a scene at the church that he volunteers for, finds out a child has been victimized. The church wants to wait, try to get things together. The police officer can't do that. He is obligated under oath to report it right then and there. So anything that the church was going to do, you can't do it. Because the jurisdiction bite us. They bite us and they bite us quick. You have to be careful. Churches will tell me, well, this lawyer reviewed this, and then we gave it out. It was a facilities use agreement, and we gave it out, and one of the lawyers in the church reviewed it. Well, did they review it for you? Oh, yeah, they were reviewing. We have them reviewing everything. Here's the problem. If they reviewed a legal document, and you threw it out to a third party, the third party and you have a fiduciary relationship, that means you exchange some kind of money, the lawyer that you hired doesn't represent you at all, and you really didn't hire a lawyer. Because had you told them about the fiduciary relationship, the lawyer would have said, whoa, give me $1. That's what I tell everyone. Give me $1. Because I have to create a legal relationship with you. And when you didn't give me $1 or sign a retainer, there was no legal relationship. The lawyer was just volunteering, so I'll look it over. And I kid you not, because I train lawyers, they spend about 3 minutes on these things. They say, well, we don't have time. The church gave it to me. Okay, it looks good to me. It's just like when I ask lawyers, what's the case about? And they tell me, oh, the case, somebody fell out on the altar. Somebody passed out on the altar, the usher touched him, and something happened there. That was fun. That happens all the time in those churches. They don't know what the case is about. Those are facts that you could have turned on Fox 5 News and heard. And we got to be real careful here, what we do with volunteers. But the most popular of lawsuits, for those of you who think I'm going to the next place, I'm still at the top. the most popular in the legal landscape.
Go on Google Whole 30.
If it ain't gonna be, if you can't tell, why can't you just look? He was on live.
I'm live.
I'm on live now?
You on live?
Hi, y'all. Listen, download the app. DC Baptist Convention. 2016 DC Baptist Convention. This is the Reverend Javon Miller. Go on, tell him, bro. Go on, tell him. Because he's looking like a natural man.
He like, get me off camera.
And that's the Reverend Carmela Jones. She's looking for money for hungry. We need it.
Hungry for hungry.
Hook that up.
Hey, I'm posting that. Excuse me. Uh-oh. Okay, I love.
I know, it's hard because no one wants to take the risk. There's no way to stop the line to that line.
There isn't. So they're both on the phone.
Pick out something else. How about this? All right. I want all right, here.
Giveaways. Let's get back to the action.
There's 3 of us. Have we been live?
We live. Ooh, Chipotle. Hey, I see you got low. You ain't even want me in there when I went live. I'm just getting a talk.
That's why we locked those kids out that door, and then something happened to them because, we were just trying to help out. We thought what we were doing was best. There has to be stated guidelines. And we shouldn't have kids making the determination of whether other kids should come into the building.
Michelle,
Yes.
does it also protect the church if you have a form like you're describing, and if somebody lies on it, then the church is protected because that's an implied requirement of the church. or something
Exactly.
like that.
The insurance companies look for procedure. Their main thing, we partnered with the insurance company a while ago. We've been working with insurance companies for years. We thought we'd better partner with them because we were making so many, on both sides, wrong decisions. But what we found out from working with Brotherhood Mutual, Liberty Mutual, a whole bunch of them, what we found out, Hartford, was that they look at procedure. It's not what you said you were going to do, it's what you did. So a lot of churches will say, oh, we've got a crisis management policy, but what are the procedures? I should be able to go to every leader in your church and ask them, what's the procedures on child abuse? A child has come to you, someone's reported that a child is harmed in some kind of way. What do you do in the first 24 hours? And if that leader can't tell me, you're in trouble. Because that's what the insurance companies do. When they interview people, they're trying to find out whether or not you had established standard operating procedures. And more often than not, the church did. How do you file a complaint? Who do you call? What number do you call? Which minister is over what? Your entire church should know this because you should be publishing this and putting it in a place where they can see it. And saying to them maybe one Sunday of the month, hey guys, we have the sexual harassment policy back there. Guys, we got sexual misconduct. We got whatever it is. We got the policy on gifts. Because many violations happen to children because you don't have a policy on gifts. People who harm children often give them gifts. And you have no established guidelines on what is a gift. It has to be under a certain amount if you're in ministry. It should be $10, I think. But it has to be under a certain amount. When you see someone gave this girl this big old ring, and he's a coach, and she plays basketball for the church, true story. Every time I tell you something, guys, it's a true story. But this is what happened. And the church didn't have a policy on gifts, and then he just kept giving things, and the parents got concerned. And they said, well, is he giving everybody else this stuff? Because he gave my daughter a Tiffany bracelet. It was a key indicator that wasn't, just one of his basketball players. That he was thinking or wanting to go further with a relationship with a minor. Volunteers. All right, I'll run through this. Okay, so we've got this duty on churches to protect. And so what I want to talk about is the legal obligation, Section 3. I'm not even going to go into the first one with that, the screening process, because we just talked about that. But I want to tell you why churches have a greater duty on them. And all of this is in Volume 7. Churches are invitees. We invite folk in. We tell them if you come in here, you're going to be treated fairly. You're going to be treated with dignity and respect, and you're going to be shown the love of Jesus Christ or whatever the belief system is. Because remember, it's not just Christianity. So whatever the belief system is, you're going to be shown that. And if they're not, then they can do something about it. That's what we often forget. We often hold people out as leaders or guides in our organization. We've got somebody at the door at the back of this building, and he's opening the door for everybody. And not just as he goes, just all the job responsibility is to open the door and allow women and children out. Just open the door. But what happens? He starts opening the door and walking people to the door. I'm going to open the car door for you. He's forgotten about the people back here, but this is what happens. And so we hold them out as guides. Anytime you hold them out as guides, you are responsible. A church is what we call vicariously liable. That means automatically. That means the insurance company doesn't make the determination. The law does. Automatically liable for any person that it puts in a position of leadership. And you having an usher or somebody that's at the back of the door walking people out to the parking lot could be perceived by someone else as a position of leadership. A woman met a wonderful man who sat at the back of a door of a church, and he gave her his card. She said she was new to the area from Arizona. He gave her his card and said, you call me if you need anything, you need to get to church, if you need whatever you need. She was there, her sister was there. This is a nice church. They called him one day. He took them both out to dinner. They had a wonderful time with him, and he began to court one of the sisters. Unbeknownst to that sister, he had relations with about 40 other women. I'm not talking about in the past. I'm talking about current. He had contracts with them to have sex with them. Mind you, let me back up. I didn't tell you something. He had a cloak around his neck. But he had contracts with them to have sex. But he got engaged to this one. He thought this was a nice girl and I'll get engaged to her. Well, what do you think happened? Somebody over here with the contract filed a lawsuit. They came after the church. ABC News brought it to the attention of the church. And the church said, across this area, we took a survey, so that you'll know I'm one of the attorneys. We took a survey. And many pastors in this area said he was a single man. He could do what he wanted to do when he was off the clock. I said, no, he wasn't. When he stood at that door, he gave a card. What was at the top of the card? They said the name of the church. I said, exactly. This is the only reason the pastor in Alexandria is going down. For those of you, the hottest case this month. This is the only reason that Melander is going down. Because Melander told people about his organization and he bragged about being a Christian and invited you to his church at the same time. And half of the money he squandered was from his members. If he had never said anything about the church, he'd have been free and clear. You must know in leadership what your other leaders are doing on the side. What business deals are they're engaged in? Because we have found some shady stuff. And you call it a volunteer. I'd be more comfortable with as your counsel calling it an employee. Then I can regulate a whole bunch of stuff real quick. But if you call it a volunteer, you have exposed the church to an enormous amount of liability. My time is up. Okay, well, I'm going to give you these real quick. We use congregation